Um, these Parshas coming up are really, they're amazing. And
they're sad, to tell you the truth.
They are sad. They are sad, but for me, meaning the Torah is teaching us these Parshas so that we could learn lessons. It's not a history book. It's not just like this is what happened. Sure. And therefore, the lessons which are learned in these Parshas are really powerful. And there's so much. It's so rich. And what just happened? My computer's acting up on me. 1 second. Okay. I don't know why it's taking. Can everyone see this? I don't know why it's. Okay. There we go. So let's just get this really tight over here. Okay. Okay, we see it? So this is Pasuk Beis of, I didn't write it, but it's Parak Yud Gimel Pasuk Beis. This is the second Pasuk in this week's Parsha. So the first Pasuk is Vayidaber Shem Moshe Lemar, which I didn't put on over here. But the Pasuk says, Shlach Lecha Anashim, send men for you. Could everyone see that? Shlach Lecha Anashim?
Yeah.
Shlach Lecha Anashim. This first piece that we're going to be doing is learning from mistakes, from our mistakes, from other people's mistakes. And we're going to be doing, hey, Reb Shalom. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through some key Rashis, which I find to be very powerful. And let's learn them together. And you'll tell me what you guys are thinking, and we'll share back and forth. So let me know. Aish, good to see you. Shlach lecha anashim, send for you men. Wow, look at that punim. V'yasuru es eretz Canaan, to scout out the land of Canaan, to scout out Israel. Asher ani nosein levnei Yisrael, the land that I am going to give to the Jews. Ish echad lamate avosov, send one man from each of their ancestral tribes, meaning each tribe should send one representative. Tishlochu kol nasi bahem, each one a chieftain, their leader, should be the one which is sent. So as we know, this was just a little context. Last week's Parsha ended off with Miriam speaking Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu. And she got saras. And she had to be outside of the camp. She asked, why is he different? Why is he separating from his wife? Bottom line is, that's how last week ended off. And then we get into the Parsha of the Meraglim, which is the story, which is unfortunately, as the Gemara says in Tainus, that's the day when it says that they cried. Hashem promised us the land of Israel. All of Israel, we cried, and therefore Hashem made that a day of mourning, which was the day where both temples were destroyed and other negative things happened to us on that day. So this is the opening of that. So Rashi opens up, the first Rashi on this week's Parsha says, Shlach lecha anashim, send thou men, send for you lecha anashim, men. So Rashi opens up the first question of this week's Parsha, or that Rashi opens up with, is Lama Nismacha Parshas Meraglim, the Parshas Miriam. Why is the Parsha of Meraglim, why is the portion speaking of the spies next to the Parsha of Miriam?
Because they also spoke Lashon Hara. Exactly.
The Fisha Loksa al Iske Diba, because they were Loksa, meaning they were punished on the fact that they spoke negatively. Shedibra, the fi Shelach saw, because Miriam was punished because she spoke lashon hara. Shedibra ba'achia, because she spoke against her brother. Urisham halalu, and these evil people, ra'u, they saw this, v'lo lakhu musar, and they did not take a lesson from what happened to Miriam.
And they spoke against the land.
So I just thought that this was such a powerful thing just to open up with. The idea of, by the way, Urisham, Rashi calls them evil people. A couple Rashis later, which we're not going to say, these people were the holiest people. These people were Anoshim Kasherim. These people were good
it's
people.
The same thing as last week or 2 weeks ago. If those people, if people are holy,
yeah.
If people are holy, then we're gonna look at them and look at scrutinize every move of theirs.
100%. Meaning, again, if the Torah is telling us these stories, it's there for us. And Rashi, I think this is such an important thing. I mean, for me, this is the first Rashi on this week's Parsha. I think this is such an important thing, and I want to show you this piece in the Kutei Maran, which brings out the idea that every single thing that we experience in our life, every single thing that we see, we have to be looking at it, and we have to be learning from everything. We have to be taking messages. If we see people messing up, if we see things in our lives, that's a personal message for us to work on that. Or all the more so ourselves, meaning if we make a mistake, it's our job to obviously correct it, but the main thing is to learn from it and to keep moving forward. That's what mistakes are there. They're our greatest teachers. And if we don't, then that's the issue. And the problem where the Meraglim, the opening problem with the Meraglim, the first Rashi is that they didn't learn the lesson. They didn't learn the lesson from Miriam, meaning they saw what happened to Miriam. Miriam spoke lashon hara, and she was excommunicated from the camp. They should have understood how important it is to be careful with speech, and they didn't take this as a message to them. And I just want to do this piece from Reb Nachman that really brings out the idea that every single thing that happens to us in our lives, every thought, every dibur, everything we hear, every situation we're in, is all Hashem telling us, come close. Michal, wow, it's so good to see you. Wow, I haven't seen you in such a long time. Good to see you.
You too.
Amazing. We got
Nice to see you, Michal.
Thank you. Thanks. Nice to see all of you.
Same here. Hello.
And Reb Gary.
Hello from the Futterman's house.
Hello.
And Reb Nachman.
It's the old crowd. I mean, not.
We were just speaking about Reb Nachman.
Wow, Gavad. So basically, Reb Nachman over here really brings out this idea that every single thing that happens to us in our lives is Hashem constantly sending us messages to come close to Him, to work on ourselves, to become better, and every single thing that happens to us. Let's see it inside. V'chol yom, every single day, Reb Nachman says, Yesh bo machshava dibur ma'isa. There's thought, there's all the thoughts that we experience. There's words, the words that we speak, the words that we hear, and deeds. There's actions, things that happen to us. The Holy One, blessed be He, contracts His godliness and His infiniteness until to the center point of this physical world which we stand on, so to speak. Umaz minlo, and He arranges, He brings to every single person, every single one of us experience thoughts, words, and situations that we're in every day. That's how we relate to people, to our own inner world, to things that are happening. Lefi hayom, according to the day, ulefi adam, and according to the person, ulefi hamakom, and according to the situation. Umalbish lo bezos hamachshava dibur umaisa, and Hashem enclosed within every single thought, speech, and action, shemazman lo, that he arranges for him, remazim, they're hints, kedei lekarvo la'avodaso, in order to bring him closer to serving him, in order to bring him closer for personal growth and working on himself, to becoming a shalom. Every single thing that happens to us in our lives is Hashem saying, come close to me, work. And by the way, that doesn't just mean, they could sometimes be wake-up calls as well. Meaning you could see something happening to someone, or you could, and it's a time you have introspection. What is Hashem telling me? Where do I have to work on myself? What is Hashem telling me? Maybe that is to be more involved in that guy's life. Maybe that is whatever it is. Meaning Hashem is constantly sending us messages to come close to him and to work on ourselves. Therefore, we need to really think about this. And to really increase our understanding. To understand, meaning what's Hashem telling me? What's Hashem hinting to me? How is Hashem telling me to come closer? What's the message? Which is enclosed with the thoughts that I'm experiencing, what I'm hearing, or the situations or the actions that I see and I'm involved with.
Is it always possible to translate it back to you?
So hold on, he's gonna say, don't go too crazy with this idea. Meaning it has
right,
to be logical.
Because like I was like, driving on the street, and I saw a bus that said Shema Yisrael on it, and I knew that I must say Shema Yisrael because I didn't say it yet that morning. Like,
see,
huh? And you'll see how he qualifies this. But right now he's just meaning in a general sense, every single thing that happens to us is meaning this is what the classes we've been doing on Hashgacha Pratis. Hashem is orchestrating everything, and He's orchestrating everything out of love. And sometimes love is enclosed within din. Sometimes they're wake up calls. Sometimes it's what's it called? Sometimes it's Hashem saying, "Get back in line." Sometimes. And hey, malacha o ma'isa o ma'atim, whether it's at work or in business, everything. And every single thing that happened, every single thing that Hashem arranges for a person, that they one has to think about, what's Hashem telling me? In order to understand, to hear. By the way, the only thing that Hashem is sending, the only hint is it's all for the sake of coming close to Hashem. That's all, and to work on avodah. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole tachlis. It's all there to help you grow. And if you're taking it in any other way, then you're missing the point. But the first thing, just to lay out every single thing that's happening to us in our lives, is there for us to learn. And our messages, Psalchi, work on yourself. Psalchi, you need to think about what's happening, especially the big things. And now he says this last line, and this is for you, Ashman. Nevertheless, the expansion of the intellect in this, it needs to be with measure. You can't go too crazy. Meaning it's true. It's true that every single thing that's happening to you is from Hashem, but it has to be with measure. That it shouldn't go beyond the limit of holiness, meaning it shouldn't be taking you, obviously the hints are not there to take you outside the limits of Kedusha, meaning if you're taking messages in ways which are bringing you to do negative things, that's for sure not the kavanah. If you're going, don't go too wild. Rak lefi seichel enoshi shelo, and this is an important thing. It could only with the logic, human logic, kein yagdel machshava b'zeh, should a person increase his thought in it. Meaning, one has to use logic when it comes to understanding the hints. Meaning, the way I apply this idea, just another thing, and also don't look beyond your level. Don't start, oh, because this happened, that means that this is going to happen. No.
He's all about simplicity, Rabbi Nachman. So it's
100%.
like, take it as simple as possible. And if it's complicated, then don't go too far into it. Just move on.
100%. Meaning, this is a key word. The idea is use logic. Meaning, things, the way I apply this idea for myself is things which you already know that you need to work on. Things which you already know are bad. Things which you already know need work. When things happen to you in your life, you could use that to strengthen or to use that as a wake-up call for things which you already know. Oh yeah, it's true. Lashon hara is bad. I know that. Oh, it happened. Like I was talking Lashon hara and then I bit my tongue afterwards. You can't say necessarily that that's why it happened, but one of the many things you could take out of that is that I already know Lashon hara is bad and I bit my tongue. Maybe I should think about not speaking negatively next time. And that's a true logical thing to take out of that. When you see, for example, this idea that happened with the Meraglim, they saw Miriam, it was clear. They saw Miriam excommunicated from the camp for speaking negatively. Seichel, logic, should dictate that that's bad. Or first of all, meaning we have the 613 mitzvahs, so we already have what to work with. But even in one's personal development, I know that I need to be treating people better. I know I need to be doing whatever it is personally, and things that come up in your life that awaken those ideas. Take the message. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm being clear.
Yeah, it makes
sense.
sense. I just don't understand what you mean by taking it too radically. If it's connecting to something you know is bad, let's say I with the example before, I don't know, you see something and you're like, oh, maybe that means I shouldn't speak Lashon hara.
Right.
You're gonna take it like that, and it's a crazy extreme. Like I drop a cup, or I see somebody coughing, whatever, something radical. What does that mean to not take it radically if it's all coming from a good place?
So meaning radically, that's not radical, that's very logical. Radical would be, I saw a deer crossing the road, and that means that I should get married. Because I said, I have this idea that deers mean that I should get married. And deer, the first letter of the name of the girl that I'm dating starts with a D, and a deer also starts with a D. And because I saw a deer crossing the road, it must mean that she's for me. I don't know, whatever. I just made up a wild case, but meaning going a little too crazy. You know what I mean? I know, meaning stick with things that you know are true.
Also, it's very important. It's very important to remember that this is a personal thing. This is not to tell the world, oh, look, I saw this sign that means that the world has done this and this wrong. So therefore, that's radical also. That's a little bit too radical.
Right.
That's a good point.
Right. Or if you're taking a message to make you go outside the limits of Kedusha, meaning to do something negative, that's also. Meaning, the main thing is use your logic. Meaning because you could start predicting the future. Oh, because this happened, that means that this. No. Calm down. stick with logic. Things Gary likes it. No, because you could go there. Your mind could go like, oh, if this is happening, that means this. No, it doesn't. Hashem is sending messages for you to work on yourself, for you to come closer to him, for you to be a better individual. The messages which he's sending are specifically for that. Meaning, Rabbi Berkowitz always says that when a guy comes over to him and says that, I know this is the girl for me because this crazy thing happened. He's like, well, you got to start questioning. Meaning you have the, because I saw a shooting star when I was walking with her, you know, whatever. Like,
that's like basing your decisions on omens, and that's not what we're
exactly.
about.
That's, by the way, that's what Rav Nosson says. Darkei Amori, meaning it's exactly 100%.
Really?
He does. But yeah, meaning obviously Lashon Hara is bad. So one could say that one of the many reasons why this happened to me is and if it awakened you in that to speak positively, to be more positive, to watch how you speak, it's great. That's true. You already know that's true. And this is just helping enforce that. So fantastic.
Going back to the spot. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, what do you want to say, Gary?
Going back to the spies, though.
Yeah.
When they set out on their journey, did they have the motivation to speak Lashon Hara, or it just happened not nonchalantly, but when they set out, did they have the intent that, hey, we're going there, we're going to give her a false report, and then that's why they gave her a false report? Or was it just happenstance, if you will? I don't know if that's the right word, but
It was false? It was a false report, or they reported what they saw?
I mean, it was, by the way, Rashi says that it was true, meaning they started out with truth, because it's another powerful Rashi. Rashi says that lies could only people will only believe in a lie if there's truth behind it, if there's some element of truth. Meaning they were saying the truth, but they were saying it in a negative light, or some of it was true, meaning some of the facts were true, but then when they started giving their spin on it,
right.
Meaning there's reality, there's the facts, and then there's what that means. So because there's such big fruits and so many big things, that means that we're not going to be, and there's strong people there, that means that we can't come in. That means that Hashem is setting us up for failure, which is, the facts are, it's true. There were strong people there and there were big fruits, but that doesn't equal that Hashem won't help you further, meaning Hashem promised the land. But
they didn't have any batachnon, because there were giants, there were grasshoppers, whatever, and they didn't have faith in Hashem that he was going to be with them and conquer the land and forget about all these enemies. I'm with you, and
right.
They had no batachnon. They lost their trust. I mean, I don't know. That's how I look at it.
I hear.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
But like we said, these people have to be very holy. Otherwise, we wouldn't get so mad at them.
Exactly.
If they were just rabble rousers who were set on bad intentions, it seems to me that this sort of things just happen. It just, like you said, happenstance. One thing led to another, and maybe they were just miserable. They had a miserable road trip. And they're just like,
yeah, you're right. They didn't have water.
No, the Sfarim really go at length to really try to understand what were their motives and where were they coming from. And that's like a whole subject. So I don't want to get into that right now, but really it's very deep where they were coming from, meaning they just think about it from their standpoint. They were basking in Hashem's presence in the desert.
Exactly.
And for them to go into Eretz Yisrael, they were going to really go back to normal life. And for the way some of the Mefarshim understand it, that they were concerned that they knew that they could thrive being close to Hashem on the level when they're surrounded by the Anani Akavod, the clouds of glory, and they're having man and they're learning and they're separated from the world, but they didn't feel that we were on the level to really have that relationship with Hashem while we're engaged in this physical world. That's one approach, and they were concerned and they wanted to stay and they wanted to have that connection with Hashem. And really the truth is that Hashem wants us to be in this physical world and reveal him within this world. And whatever, there's many approaches of different ways that to explain where they were coming from. I just wanted to bring one other idea just to finish off this idea of learning from mistakes. We had in 2 Parshas ago this idea of there's the Sota and the Nazir. The Sota is the one which is accused of being promiscuous with, she's a married woman and her husband accuses her. And she goes through this whole process. And right next to that Parsha is the Parsha of Nazir, which is the Nazirite who can't drink wine and be involved. So the Gemara says, why is it that these 2 Parshas were connected, were written one after the other? Rabbi Omer, Lama Nismacha Parshas Nazir, the Parshas Sota. Why is the portion of Nazir written right next to the Parsha of Sota? Lomar lach to tell us, Shekol haro Sota bekilkula yazir atzmo min hayayin. That whoever sees a Sota going through the process and that whole disgraceful process, he should, what's it called? He should make a neder that would prohibit him from drinking wine.
He should take a lesson. He should take a lesson.
Exactly. Meaning the whole idea of Sota is that when you see a Sota, if you hear news or you hear something which is negative, meaning this woman was accused of being promiscuous with another man when she was married, and he has to do something about that, because that means that maybe it's a personal message. Meaning if you hear something about this is happening,
that's straight from God. That's straight from the Torah. We wouldn't know that without the Torah.
What do
you? If the Nazir saw if the Nazirite, he would not know that he should become a Nazir. He would not know that a Nazir if the Torah didn't tell us that.
What I think the Torah is telling us, that when you see, meaning which I think we could apply in all aspects, that when you see something, take that as a person that you need to work on that area, or whatever that means. I don't know, or go in, meaning what is Hashem telling me to work on, especially with all the things happening in the world right now.
Hashem.
Give out. But really, meaning to take responsibility and look into our own lives to see where we could grow, and especially from our own mistakes. Meaning, if this is for other people's mistakes, all the more so our own mistakes should be our greatest teachers. And that was one of the failures of the Meraglim. Okay.
Amen.
Next one. This is the same pasuk. We're going to do the next 2 psukim. Shelach, so we saw the first one, that send Shelach lecha anoshim. This is Hashem leads you where you want to go. That was the first one, learning from mistakes. Hashem leads you where you want to go. Shelach lecha anoshim. So it says, send me to scout the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelite people. Send one man from each of the ancestral tribes, each one a chieftain among them. Then it says, Vayishlach osam Moshe mimidbar Paran. So Moshe, by the Lord's command, sent them out from the wilderness of Paran. Kulam anoshim roshi bnei Yisrael hema. All the men being leaders of the Israelites. As Rashi says, they were top people. They were like very holy people. But look at what Rashi says on this piece, because it says very interestingly, it says Shlach lecha. send for you. Meaning it's not send the spies, send for you. So Rashi points out that ledaitcha, meaning send for you the spies, means that it's according to your own judgment. What does that mean? Ani eni metzav lecha. Hashem says, I didn't command you to send the spies. Im tirtze, if you want, shlach. If you want, send. Why? Lefi shabo Yisrael, because the Jews came, va'amru nishlacha anoshim lefaneinu. Let us send men in front of us. Kamo shenemar, like it says in the verse, Atirkvun elai kulchem, where Moshe in Devarim is giving the Jews rebuke. He says, you guys came to me. Moshe nimlach b'shchina. And Moshe then asked Hashem, what should he do? And Omar, Hashem replied, Omarti, I said lahem shitova. I told you guys that it's a good land. Hashem said it's a good land. Shenemar ala eschem me'oni mitzrayim. I will take you out from being poor and being afflicted in the land of Mitzrayim and to the land of Eretz Yisrael. And then this is an important thing. Rashi says, Chayim, I'm swearing to you. Hashem says, Shani nosim lahem mokim litos b'divrei meraglim. I'm going to give you, if you want to be skeptical, Jews, if you want to doubt my words, I'm going to give you room to doubt. Lamal no yiroshu. I'm going to give you room to make a mistake. Meaning if you want to be skeptical, and if you want to doubt, I told you it's good. I told you the land is good. I told you Eretz Yisrael is good. But if you want to doubt me, and you want to look into it, and you're skeptical on what I said, then I'm going to give you room to error. And that's what it says. Api Hashem b'rshuso. Hashem says with his consent, Hashem let it happen. Shlo ikev al yodo. Hashem didn't prevent him from doing so. So I just wanted to point out, meaning it seems at first like Hashem set this up, so to speak. Hashem set it up. That meaning they asked Moshe to send the spies. Hashem says, you could send for yourselves because I already told you it's good. And if you're being skeptical, I'm going to make sure there's room that I'll give you room to doubt. And then it says that it was with Hashem's consent. And I think this is a very important klal in Yiddishkeit, that that's right. So the Gemara says, Omar Rabba, Bar Rav Huna, Omar Rav Huna, Ra'amri Lo, Omar Rav Huna, Omar Rabbi Elazar. Fine. It's not clear who said this. Minat Torah, from the Torah. Minat Nevi'im, from the prophets. Uminat Ksuvim, Uminat Ksuvim, and from the writings, meaning the whole Tanakh, from the whole Torah, we see one thing clearly. That b'derech she'odam rotzei lelech, that in the way that a person wants to go, molichan oso. Hashem will lead you in that way. And this is such a fundamental idea in Judaism, that we have Hashem set up the world, that it needs to be set up like this for us to have free choice, that Hashem lets us do things which are against his will. And he will help us do things which are against his will if that's what you want. Because all of that gives us the ability to have free choice. Without that, we wouldn't be able to.
But he'll still drop signs. He'll still drop the quick sign. Oh, you're on the wrong path.
Of course. Of course. Of course. They're remuzim, they're hints. They're hints. You have to be open to hearing that. But the way that a person wants to go, that Hashem will help you go in that way. And this is a similar Gemara which says that if you want to defile yourself and you want to become impure, they'll open up the gates for you. And if you want to purify yourself and work on yourself, Hashem will help you. Meaning, whichever way you want to go, Hashem will help you. And that's needed and that's necessary for us to become independent beings, for us to truly develop ourselves to really become mature people. We need to have that freedom to mess up. We need to have that freedom. If you want to mess up, go for it. And it's a very powerful idea just in general with like education and like teenagers or whatever, meaning people need to have space to mess up and to give them room to mess up. And that's the Meraglim is one of the places, meaning the Gemara says in all of Torah, in all of the prophets, and everywhere we see this idea going through that in the way, the path that a person wishes to proceed, one leads and assists him. No, that doesn't make sense. Fine, the English is messed up. But it's the way that a person wants to go, they will lead him in that way. And I just think that's an important idea, meaning
some people say it's angels, right? Some people say it's angels will lead him.
But what is an angel? Meaning people, it's
right.
Not,
I guess it's Hashem.
An angel is the will of God, meaning it's not like things with wings, meaning like how the movies portray. No, it's what's it called? It's the way they understand it. It's Hashem's will being carried out in this world. Let's continue. That's another idea. And this is the last idea which I wanted to say because I think this is also a very important idea. Of vulnerability is a sign of strength. And it's an amazing Rashi where we see this. So let's just do a couple of the next psukim. It says, so Moshe sent them to scout and to spy out the land of Canaan. And he said to them, go up in the south, and go up the mountain. And you'll see the land. What is it? You'll see what it's like. And the nation which is dwelling in it. Are the people, are they strong? Are they weak? Are they few or many? Is it good or bad? And what are the villages like? In the Mivtzorim are the towns. Is the country in which they dwell good or bad? Are the towns they live in open or fortified? Okay, is it? And it goes on. Is the soil rich or poor? Fine. Rashi says an amazing thing. It says, check to see if they're strong or weak. So Rashi says, how do you know if they're strong or weak? Rashi says, "Hachazak hu arafat." Simon Masar lehem. Moshe gave them a sign. Im beprozim yoshvim. If they are sitting in open cities, chazakim heim. It means they are strong. Shesomchem al gvurasam. It means that they rely on their strength. Ve'im ba'arim betzuros heim yoshvim chaloshim heim. But if they live in fortified cities, they are weak. If they're in open cities, that means that they're strong. If they're in fortified cities, it means that they're weak. So my friend Benjamin Kaufman, he shared with me, and I thought that's mamish a beautiful idea, that, meaning Rashi's telling us a very important idea, that, meaning I would maybe think the opposite, meaning if you have a strong fortified city, meaning it's walled in, maybe that means they're powerful. But Rashi says no, the opposite is true. If they're open, it means they're strong because they're confident. Come in. You want to mess? Come. But if they're fortified, it means they're scared. And psychologically, this is also true. That if a person has many walls and is completely fortified, even if he's walking around like a tough guy, that really means that he's weak and he's scared. And therefore, people like that, you have to, even if they are cool guys or the tough guys, whatever, we have to realize that deep down, they're scared and they're really nervous to really be who they are, and they really have low self-esteem. And on the opposite is also true. People that are open and are vulnerable and let people in is a sign of strength. It's a sign of confidence. And I just thought that this is an interesting point. Rashi points out it's a siman, it's a sign, meaning if you If you want to see if someone is weak or strong, see is he a vulnerable, open person, or is he closed or not? And so maybe we could think. I just thought that was a nice idea. What do you guys have to say?
I love it.
We all think it's a great idea over here. We love that
Fantastic.
idea.
Fantastic. Yeah, meaning, so let's just go through. I mean, does anyone have anything they want to share on anything we've learned so far? Any questions, comments, statements, anything?
I want to share. Thank you, Sachia. A big thank you.
Thank you so much. Rebelli.
So Miriam wants to know if they had walled cities.
No.
But what about Jericho?
Or maybe parts of it were. I guess so. I guess yes. I guess you're right. I guess you're right, Absalom. No, because meaning that what they reported back was the giants and the people, that there were some big guys there. And
They were like we were like we were like grasshoppers to them.
By the way, that's also another powerful teaching. You know what? Now that you're on that, let's just pull that up because just the verse itself it's such a deep teaching as well. Let's pull that up and then continue. Meaning, if anyone has any thoughts, please see if we can pull that up.
That just stands out. That just gets you to to me, it's like we were like grasshoppers to them. It's like they were so gigantic that we were almost like a virus.
No, because I'm gonna look at what the pasuk says, and then you'll tell me what you think. I think that's very similar to what we were saying. It says v'shamra inu as hanafilim b'nei anak min hanafilim. We saw the Nephilim there, who were the giants. The Anakites are part of the Nephilim, meaning the giants. V'anehi be'einenu, and we look like grasshoppers to ourselves. V'chein hayinu be'eineihem, and so we must have looked to them. Meaning, what does it say? Does it say that they looked at us as grasshoppers? It doesn't say that. It says that we looked at ourselves like grasshoppers, and it must be that they saw us like grasshoppers, which is such a powerful idea. Meaning, the way we view ourselves is the way people view us. I mean, it doesn't say that they saw us as grasshoppers. It says, and we looked like grasshoppers to ourselves. The Meraglim felt small, and therefore we must have looked as like grasshoppers to them, because that's how we felt. And if one feels that way, the one projects and really believes in himself, that's what he gives over. Or maybe not even what he gives over. That's what he believes the other person sees. They don't even know. That's the truth. They don't even know how the giants looked at them. They have no idea.
The giants didn't even know they were there.
They didn't even know they were there. So it was all their own dimion. It was their whole imagination. It was their whole fault. It was their perception. They felt like grasshoppers, and they were projecting that it must be that they also look like that.
That was their reality. That's that.
What?
That was their reality. That's the reality they made for themselves.
Exactly. But they created it. They created that reality. Meaning we look like grasshoppers to ourselves. Meaning we felt that way. And therefore
we create our own reality.
Exactly. Right. Meaning reality is subjective. And the way we feel about ourselves very much will impact the way we feel other people feel about ourselves. And maybe
it's even the reality. So it is how they look at us. We create this reality for ourselves.
It's true. It's true. I mean,
you don't know what's going on through their minds.
It's true. It's all what we believe about them. And I think it is true. Meaning, if you really believe something about yourself, it does affect the way people see you. I think so. Could be not. Could be not. It's true also. Who knows?
No, but even if it's not true, if that is your reality, you don't know what they're thinking, and that's that. You've made it. You've made it true. Even if they're not thinking that, you don't know that.
It's a good meaning just to define our terms. When we say reality, meaning does that mean is that what happened? No, it means that that's what I thought happened. Meaning I looked at myself like a grasshopper, so we must have looked like grasshoppers in their eyes.
Okay.
But from your own reality, what you think happens is what happens.
Not necessarily. Meaning, who knows what went, is like just what you said. Who knows what went through their heads?
Right, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, but if we have that knowledge, then we could relate to reality differently. We could understand
The question here is, what does reality mean? What you're saying reality means is the general picture, and what our friend over there, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Shalom. My name is Shalom.
Hi, Shalom. What I believe you're saying is the reality is what we create in our minds. So therefore, they created that reality in their mind. So therefore, that's the reality. So it's just a question of which reality we're talking about between you guys, I think.
Yeah. I guess
yeah, meaning when I'm saying reality, I'm talking about what actually happened.
One is a reality, and the other one is a perception. You know
Exactly.
how what your perception is of a situation, and how people look at you is their perception of who they think you are, but that may not be true. It's just how you're projecting to them that leads them to this perception.
So then reality is all up to perception.
Meaning there are things which are fact, meaning we are talking, meaning the way we're all on Zoom right now. That's fact. Fine,
But
some people.
My reality could be that we're arguing.
Right, but that's not
No,
true.
that's
not
reality.
fact. That's not fact.
We're not arguing.
That's your perception.
Well, if reality is all up to perception, then.
No, but I'm saying there's a difference between we're on Zoom and then you're defining the situation as an argument, which I really am not. I think this is a fantastic discussion.
No, I'm not saying.
Exactly.
No, but I'm just saying theoretically. One could look at this as an argument, and one could look at this as a discussion, and one could look at this as people just sharing, which that's where it gets subjective. But what's fact is we're on here. What's fact is that they went to Eretz Yisrael. What the fact is that they saw the giants. What that means of how the giants looked at them, and who knows, but because they looked at themselves like grasshoppers, they felt that they were being looked at as grasshoppers, which is not necessarily the reality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a deep. That verse.
But it changed the reality. But it changed their reality. It changed the reality. We didn't go into Israel right away.
What do you mean? Meaning the fact
it changed their perception. Their perception of looking at themselves in a small way and saying over not nice things about their sojourn into the land changed Bnei Yisrael's reality forever. So our perceptions have an effect. It's not just the dimyon.
Oh, of course they have an effect. They have a tremendous effect. Right. They affect the way you live your life, and that's for sure. Oh boy, do they have an effect.
They create your reality.
100%. 100%.
There are facts. And
right. 100%. They create your reality. They create your subjective reality. But then there's the fact.
There's no other reality for people. It's the whole. My reality is everything for me.
But I think an important thing is for people to make a distinction between fact and what happened, and then your projection on the reality.
And it was after this grasshopper statement that the people raised it and cried all night. It was after that statement that really terrified them, and they said, "Wow!"
Right, meaning because if you have a negative perception of reality, and that's creating a negative reality for you, if you're able to make a distinction that that's not fact. Fact is X. I'm projecting reality like that, so then you could change your perception.
Right.
But if you think that that's the objective reality, then you can't change.
Right. But I completely understand what you're saying, and I think what you're saying is right. But at the same time, we're perceiving all the time.
100%. But the first thing is to be aware of the fact that you're perceiving. Most people think that they're that is the objective reality, which is
Right.
not.
Right.
Wow. Yasher koach, everyone. Beautiful.
This is real. This is real, man.
This is it. Israel. Yeah, no, mamish, this is it. Is real. Is real. We're talking about is real.
I
It's real.
appreciate that one. I appreciate that one.
You like that one? Ellie, you're the king at that, so that was for you.
I wanted to say, to bring up another point just
Yeah.
at the end. Basically, it says V'yikhuli truma. It says take for me truma. So that's
Yeah.
a similar thing of the nusach of the pasuk you were dissecting.
What do you mean?
It said you could sojourn the land if you want. V'yikach spies. I forgot what the words were that you were discussing earlier.
Oh, hold on. Let's get that back on. Sorry. I don't either remember. You'll tell me. Okay, back up top. It said,
Shelach lecha, send for you.
yeah.
V'yichuli is the opposite. Take for me.
Oh,
But I gotta jump off. Much love. Thank you.
Eshakach, Rebelli.
Shabbat shalom, and nice to see you.
See you, mate.
Shabbat shalom. Nice to see everyone.
Stay well. Safe.
Yeah, so that's the sitch.
What was he saying at the end? What was
He's
that?
saying, meaning when it says, when Hashem said to take for me a truma, meaning to separate, Hashem asks from all of Klal Yisrael to bring and to donate to the Mishkan. Hashem says, take for me. Over here, it's send for you. Just a different way of, meaning when Hashem wants it, he says it for me. This whole Meraglim thing is completely for you. It's nothing. It's not for me. Hashem was making that clear from the onset. Okay. Love you guys. Have an amazing Shabbos.
Shabbat
Cool.
shalom. All the best. Stay safe, well, and be
Amen.
good. All right.